Welcome to the shows. Hi there, business owners, directors, and marketeers. In today's show, I'm meeting Tony Simonovsky from InsightWhale. I'm Lucas, your host, like always. And I want to tell you a little bit about Tony before we actually get to talk to him. So, being a serial entrepreneur with more than 40 years of experience in the digital marketing arena, Tony has started actually his first business at the age of 19. So he's been an early starter, building up his own businesses. And he sort of, with that, started living as a digital nomad since 2012, actually. So he's been ahead of the curve there a little bit, having lived in India, US, Brazil, and traveled most of the Asia and Europe by motorcycle. I think actually right now he might be in Asia, or at least he is in the next couple of weeks. We just chatted about that before the interview. So happy to learn a bit more about that. In 2015, Tony created InsightWhale with the aim to help small and medium businesses worldwide to become data-driven. And we want to talk a lot about that. InsightWhale has worked with clients from almost any field, starting from simple corporate websites to big online travel services, e-commerce, and even blockchain technology startups. So there's a wealth of experience that Tony can bring to the table. So Tony, welcome to the show.
Hey Lucas, thanks for having me.
Very good. So tell us about InsightWhale and your company. What is it all about?
So as you mentioned, we started 2015. I actually started my way in analytics and conversion rate optimization back in 2012, when basically at the same time I started to live like a digital nomad. So before that, I sold my previous business and I was thinking what to do. And as my previous business was SEO, search engine optimization, and back in the days when I started that business, like we were able to give any position for any business, and they were getting a lot of clients. But back in the days, the sites were simple. There was not much competition. So being on the first top 10 results actually guaranteed your clients. But after a few years working in this industry, I started to see a trend that it was not the same anymore. So we were providing the positions, but the clients were not happy because they were not getting clients. So for me, it was kind of natural to think, why is that? And that's why after leaving SEO world, I started to do web analytics and conversion rate optimization, so that actually to help those businesses to actually get clients, not only traffic. I started to learn myself in 2012, and a couple of years worked as a freelancer. And early 2015, I started to build a team because I saw like a huge demand on the services, and I already started to get more clients than I could handle. So it was again natural to start building a team.
Great. So yeah, we're definitely going to chat a lot about conversion rate optimization and your take on this, because that has been a focus on a lot of the conversations here. Maybe if you could give us a summary, who would be the types of businesses or the type of people that you would work with that benefit most from your conversion rate optimization services? Like, who are you working with there?
So if we're talking about conversion rate optimization, you need to have traffic, and you need to have a lot of traffic. Otherwise, we can give you some recommendations, but nobody will be able to actually test if it's working or not. And even we, as though we are experts, we don't tell you that it will work like this. We can give you an educated guess based on our expertise and experience, but we always recommend to test anything. So if you don't have traffic, so you basically can't test. So our ideal client is somebody who has at least a few thousand visitors a day, and that way we can test. It's for conversion rate optimization. For our other services, digital analytics, you can be in the very early stage, but you already need to start collecting data. So we can help you set up all the digital analytics tools so that you start collecting this data to later optimize it.
Very interesting. Yeah, we had a couple of people in the conversion rate optimization space on on the show, and they've been collecting experiences, particularly in verticals where there is very high priced products, such as services, or maybe even educational high priced products, or large scale e-commerce places like marketplaces. Like, what type of clients do you usually get in contact with? What are the industries that you feel or that you see are becoming more aware and acting faster on conversion rate optimization?
So you mentioned that the client should be high priced products. It's actually not exactly like this, because the taken as an example, info products, they're normally not expensive. I mean, they can be expensive, but there are a lot of them on the market which cost like $10, $20, $30, but they just earn money by selling like loads of them, like thousands, hundreds of thousands. So we actually have quite a big experience with this field. We worked with numerologist.com. It's like one of the leaders worldwide in its sphere, in providing some numerology reports. I can't say I believe in all this, but I mean, it was interesting because they have loads of traffic and you can test a lot. So we've done with them maybe a few hundred tests. It was a fun experience. Now we're working with another client of the same kind. So yeah, there are the profile can be either e-commerce, as you mentioned, but again, e-commerce with some reasonable amount of traffic, can be any kind of info products. It can be low priced or it can be high priced. But high priced, maybe it's challenging to do CRO, because high priced is normally you don't have so much traffic, so it's not always you can actually test. You can try still to use CRO, but it will be less kind of scientific.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Maybe the last question in this direction there. Any new verticals that you've seen coming, aware of conversion rate optimization? Because we've seen in the conversations there is a lot of people actually, think of conversion rate optimization at very last. They're thinking about advertising, they're thinking about SEO, and for some reason, CRO has a little bit of a backseat in a lot of conversations. Did you see certain verticals that would be sort of waking up to conversion rate optimization and being more open to it than they've been previously?
Interesting question. I actually didn't notice that trend. So pretty much we didn't have any new types of clients for CRO over these years. So, but what I definitely see is that CRO is changing itself. Maybe not the industries it's working with, but definitely itself, because like it used to be just guessing. Let's guess whether it's red or blue button works better. Then we started to use analytics. Then we started to use qualitative data like live chats, like user testing, and it's evolving all the time.
Very good. Do you see any new trends on the horizon that you think are very interesting for conversion rate optimization then?
Definitely, there will be, I mean, there is a huge trend in moving to everything to mobile phones. So definitely there will be more. It's actually maybe not, because, okay, I was trying to say that probably there will be more A/B testing for mobile apps. But from another angle, actually, might be mobile apps will go away and we'll just live with the like browser apps, which are evolving very rapidly. So a lot of companies actually don't have apps now. They just have like really good React apps, which are adaptable to mobile phones.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Okay, so you're seeing, but still the mobile phone as a device to access the pages, I guess that's where as I understand you correctly, being one of the next challenges, and I mean it already is, but going to the future, the conversion rate optimization being a very critical aspect. Okay. Very good. So maybe one last question about you as a business owner with InsightWhale. Like, how do you think about because there's a lot of people maybe that might be tuning into also building up their own, consultancy businesses in growth marketing, in conversion rate optimization. How do you think about how does a business like yours has to think about, their own online strategy to grow online? Like, what would be some maybe key insights that you could share?
I'm a big believer in the content marketing. So basically, it's building relations with the market. One of our core values in InsightWhale
Mhm.
is education, both inside the company and providing education of what we've learned to the market. So we have a blog. We post a lot of stuff about Google Analytics, about Google Tag Manager, and all other tools we use. And also, yeah, in my opinion, like education is the best selling tool. If you can educate somebody, they will consider you expert, so they will come to you naturally.
Yep. Yeah, we've definitely seen that our team reviewing your page. There is a lot of articles, and guys, if you want to check it out on InsightWhale.com, there's a lot of tools being reviewed and tips being given on how to actually use them, how to understand the outputs that you would get from those tools. Very, very interesting there. Okay, so we spoke a little bit about maybe the website now having your content there. How important is the website like InsightWhale.com for your own business? Is that something that is very crucial, or is that because you would receive a lot of referral? Is that a secondary importance? I'm curious to learn about your perspective on your own website.
Yeah, sure. Actually, it's funny that first maybe 2 or 3 years of our existence, uh, we had some site, but we never used it, never showed it to anyone. So it was not working as a sales tool for us at all. We were purely referral based. So clients came to us, they liked our service, they liked our pricing, everything. So they felt comfortable working with us. So they referred us to other clients. And till lately, we were purely referral based. But now we are starting more to develop site as a sales tool, and we are starting to get some leads. It's still, I wouldn't say it's our main sales tool, but we are going there. So that referral business is good, but I think in our industry and at our scale, it's very, I mean, it has certain limitations.
Yep.
So we are kind of restarting business now, redoing the processes, including the sales processes. So one of the goals is to make our site a sales tool. And then again, referral may work on the next level, bring us more bigger clients. But first, we need to learn to sell ourselves.
Makes a lot of sense. I want to switch a little bit into your experience that you had as being somebody that works in conversion rate optimization. So a question that I would always have is with somebody who works with a lot of pages is what would be key metrics that you would usually focus on? I'm sure they change from use case to use case, but if you could give us a quick summary of metrics that you found to be, maybe you would be looking at again and again, because there's a huge amount of different metrics to look at on the page. But what would you think is usually something that is very a good North Star if you would want to pick out a couple of metrics?
Mm-hmm. So it depends on the type of business. So if we're talking about e-commerce, it's definitely metrics like number of purchases, its average order value, very important one. And yeah, I guess for e-commerce, these are like kind of the main outcomes, the macro conversions, as we call it. But then we have lots of micro conversions which we also need to optimize because they're basically top of the funnel. So the wider we have top of the funnel, the more clients can potentially convert at the bottom. But We always start with a new client with the macro conversions because we need to make client comfortable working with us. So we need to first show the immediate results, and then when he's comfortable, we can already think more strategically, work on the micro conversions and widen the top of the funnel.
Do you have an example for a couple of micro conversions so the listener can sort of imagine a little bit what that would look like?
E-commerce, it's putting a good to cart. Or if there is, for example, a product video, so watching the video and how much time a user watched the video. It can be maybe adding to favorites. Again, it very much depends on the specific product, but e-commerce, yeah, it's mainly, I guess, adding to cart, and then video or opening a picture, or it can be also asking a question to the live chat. It's actually, we are with every new client, we are thinking more and more that it's actually one of the most underestimated tool in conversion rate optimization, live chat. And we use it actually for smaller clients which don't have capacity to have an operator there. We just install it. There is no operator, but we're just collecting the question and it's really amazing. It's just you take this, you implement this, and you get results, because there you have clients themselves telling about the problems they're facing on the site. It's not that user testing where you tell do this and this, and then they are kind of biased. And here it's like a natural environment. And then if they can find something, can do something, and they're that kind of, it's not everybody will be doing this, but if you have same feedback, it means that 500 people just left the site.
Makes total sense. Did you collect some experience on the actual impact on conversion rate optimization in implementing a web chat or a chat bot? Did you collect some experience in that area?
I mean, yeah, you can't directly quantify the effect of a chat, but you can quantify the ideas you are getting from there. For example, with one of our clients, we've seen that people were not finding specific bits of information about the product on the page. So we just added them, and it increased conversion. And with each of these ideas, so basically, it's in my opinion, it's the only limitation of a live chat effect on your conversion is when you reach the perfect site, because you can get infinitely until the site is perfect, which is never happens. So you can get infinitely at least some small improvements using the insights from the live chat.
Very good. So it's mainly driving then the insights, that's what you're saying, as a collective information collection mechanism. Very interesting. What challenges would you usually see that businesses have that you work with in order to increase their conversion rate? What is typical situations that you would find yourself in maybe repetitively?
Yeah, there are a few, and I guess the main one is with any service, clients are expecting results, if not yesterday, but today, right after we sign the contract. And in conversion rate optimization, they tend to think, okay, they're doing all that research and it's a month passed or 2 months passed, and I was hoping that day one we are starting to test something, and it's not happening. And some clients leave right before they could have the results, a week or two, when we already can start. We have enough insight to test, and we are ready to start, and we're not happy, we're leaving. So that's why actually I loved the numerologist. They also were not very how's it called? They were
Yeah.
almost ready to go away, but they still waited a bit. And after like 2-3 months of research and collecting like lots of insights for the tests, we did all these tests right in there before their main season, and
Yep.
that really that first. So after that first season, we saw that the conversion increased. It actually doubled comparing to the last year, and it's not the main thing. We actually saw the trend that previous year we saw the trend was kind of after the season, the conversions were going down.
Yep.
And here, after the seasons, the conversions were still on the same level.
Interesting. Interesting. Was there something specific that you were testing? Do you have a topic of the test where you were like adding certain types of elements, or what was the test roughly about?
I mean, I think there were around 40 or 50 tests
Ah, wow.
during
Okay.
that period. But there are a few key things we test. First of all, it's any kind of trust signs,
Mm-hmm.
like reviews, Facebook comments if they're good, video testimonials, and all kinds of trust you can add,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically third-party trust, not just, okay, we are writing that's our testimonial and it's just text.
Yep.
Another thing, what else? So trust signs, it's doing some user testing, looking at how are users actually using the site,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's how we expect them to use the site. Yeah, I think the main tools we start with, and then based on the, again, live chats, we see what we will be doing next.
Okay, maybe one last follow-up question on this before we sort of slowly, coming to an end of this interview. You mentioned that it takes some time, maybe 1 to 2 months to do research to then be ready to run those tests. Maybe you can shed a little bit of a light into what is kind of happening. What are the main activities in that first 2 months? So maybe that others can understand better why there is that sort of preparation time.
Funny enough, in many cases, clients come to some company to request for CRO. Is they don't have analytics installed properly, so they don't have data.
Yep.
So in many cases, we first need to help them set up their conversion tracking, micro conversion tracking, and all the stuff. And then when we have some data, we need to analyze it and come up with ideas for testing. And it also depends on the client, how fast he is. When we also need to actually learn about the product really well, and that implies like working a lot with the client, having a lot of calls, discussions. And not always clients are ready, like they think it's a magic wand, like I pay you money, you give me a result. But it's unfortunately not like this, especially, I mean, in most of the services, but in conversion rate optimization specifically, because to do it really efficiently, you need to really know the product good. And I mean, if it's a new product to you, so you need to work very closely with the client to understand it. Plus, again, you need to have data. If it's not set up, you need to set it up, collect, and analyze.
Yeah, maybe one small follow-up on this. I know we don't want to overrun on time today. It's just very interesting to have an expert here on the show. You mentioned the companies would be coming potentially even without having analytics installed, right? It sounds a little bit ironic even. Who would be the types of people in the teams of those companies that reach out to you? Is that a marketing lead? Is that a business owner that just wants to get more signups? Like, where do you usually get that pull from if a company, for example, doesn't even have analytics installed?
Yeah, one remark here. So they normally have analytics installed, but it's not set up properly to collect all the data, or it's set up improperly and the data is just skewed. Like one of our previous clients, it was not CRO, but they asked us to help them with analytics. So we found out that the previous contractor made the setup the way that they were seeing everything triple. So they were like going to investors and everyone and like telling, yeah, we have so many traffic, so much conversions, and like
Yeah.
cool. And then we're like, came and guys, sorry, bad news. You have all the data tripled.
Yeah, I see. No, I fully get that. And that's then usually marketing folks reaching out to you, business owners, who would be driving the CRO conversations in those companies.
Yes, CRO conversations. It's mostly marketing guys and business owners. If it's like small businesses or startups,
Yep.
like founders. And what I found actually very interesting that for our analytics, like digital analytics platform setup services,
Mm-hmm.
like I would say at least half of the cases it's CTO which comes to us with this.
Interesting. Very, very interesting, actually. Okay. And would they also call it conversion rate optimization, or do they call it just completely different, like help us to get more signups? Because what we've been noticing is that there's a varying degree of awareness about this whole concept of conversion
Yeah.
rate optimization. What's your experience there?
Because we are referral based and
Yep.
clients normally know what we do beforehand. So yeah, all our inquiries, they at least use the word CRO. They might not be very good at understanding it or understanding it totally like wrong, but at least they've heard about this term and know something about it.
Makes a lot of
But
sense.
it might be not true for other companies. It totally depends on the sales cycle.
Makes sense. Cool. Yeah, let's wrap it up here today, Tony. Maybe last question. What advice would you give yourself? If you would have to restart InsightWhale today, what would be one thing that you would sort of, maybe take a little bit of a different approach or something that you did well? Like, what would be one advice that you would give yourself?
Yeah, it's funny because we're studying the business right now. So I already gave this advice to myself. And the advice is if you feel you are stuck or you've been growing and then you don't see growth anymore, don't try to work harder. Stop for a minute or a minute a day, a week, and try to think actually where are you going and if it's the right direction and maybe you need to change something. So in our case, our motto from I think day one was helping companies become data driven. But a couple of months ago, maybe I was thinking, why are we not growing? Why are we like kind of stuck after like a couple of years like of very aggressive growth? And then I found out that we're not actually sticking to our own motto. So we were helping companies basically with two things. Make like very good and robust setup of digital analytics platforms and do conversion rate optimization. But these are just two small things from the whole process of becoming data driven. So we found out that we need to stick to this motto and actually do more stuff in the data industry. So we're now doing a lot of data visualization, business intelligence, and we really want to start working with machine learning next year.
Very good, very good. So you're off to exciting new sort of additional services that are being added into your suite of services there. Tony, thanks a lot for having taken the time today. I really appreciate to have you on the show, and thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.